All right, hello, Professor. We're here with GPE205. I'm just gonna come on down the list. So first, the tank exists right here. Um, I have a follow script going on. Here's the testing area. It'll be useful later when enemy tanks move around. I'll probably add a bit more cubes, but I wanted like a few wider areas so you can see how the health is and stuff when you're getting attacked by multiple enemies. Alright, so there's the first one. Now we're going to go down onto player input and player controller. So if I click on my player pawn here, um, I have the character controller on here, and the tank motor, and the input controller. So right now the input controller is just the player controller. Um, I I probably it didn't say to do it in this assignment, but I'll probably switch it over so that this is player controller, and when I have a controller this is inheriting from. But right now my tanks don't need to move, so when I go to make my AI controller, I'll restructure the controllers for inheritance. Oh, that's from the shells hitting the ground. That null reference is from the shells hitting the ground and trying to find the pawn script. I gotta fix that. But it functions anyway. So now that you see I have my tank input in player controller. Wait, tank input in player controller. Well, here's my tank motor, and it tells it to move. I think that's what that means. Player input in player controller. Oh, no, that's what this means. So here's my WASP player input. Um, I don't know if I need to go over it, but anything that has a positive value, like forward, so W has a positive value right here, and then backward just has a negative pawn move speed value. And then left is a negative value again, so we have a negative pawn turn speed here instead of move speed. I don't know if I said turn speed earlier, but obviously this is move speed and this is turn speed. If you're going left, it's negative. If you're turning right, it's positive. If you're moving backwards, the move speed's negative. If you're moving forward, the move speed is positive. I also have the shot force in here. Both of these have different inputs, so technically right now if I dropped another pawn meant to be a player pawn, somebody could use the arrow keys and alt to move, and somebody could use WASD and space. Technically it would work. You just player 2 just wouldn't have a camera following them. So obviously that's not happening. All right, so we're gonna go over to our tank motor here to see our movement. Um, I just get our transform and a TF, and then I get our character controller. So here's the move function using the simple move character controller simple move, and then we just call pawn.move or tank or motor.move in the other one. But we're just calling this move function that makes use of simple move. Well, so we create a new vector 3 that's just our TF4 times our speed, and then we send it to our character.move. Same thing over here, except instead of doing a simple character controller.simple move, we're doing a tf.rotate, and it's in our own space, not the world space. It's in our local space, and that all we do here is we create a new vector called rotate vector, and it's by our vector3.up times speed times time delta time. I tried messing around with this with like forward and stuff. It has to be up because we're rotating on our y vector. Just so that I guess I show that I know what I'm doing because we're rotating on the y vector, so it has to be vector3.up because in a 3D environment, up is actually up. It's not like our 2D games. Well, the platformer, it's actually up, but in the other 2D games we did, it's not actually up, it's forward. But here, in a 3D space, vector3.up is up. See, up. But you know that. So, next, 1, there's my transform.rotate to turn. Tank variables are exposed. So I don't have a tank data, but I do have a pawn. So here's the pawn script, just so that you see it. This is our tank data. And then here's all these variables. Come to think about it, I'm going to put headers in there. I should put headers in there, but here's all the variables to edit. We got, this is just for our shell. Oh, that's really bothering me now. I'm going to pause the video and fix it real quick. Okay, I fixed it a little bit just because it was bothering me. I just put some headers on there. So we got all of our variables in here. We've got, here's just for the tank shell, so I labeled it tank shell. And obviously, this pack actually came with, oh, sorry about that. This pack actually came with some bullet shells. So the one I showed you in class that I spent that time making, I didn't even have to do, which is kind of funny. So that's why it says player 1 shell there, because I'll have an enemy shell and stuff. That might get annoying, but for now, that's just what I'm going to have to do. Um, and then we have our shot timers. Maybe I should rename these. The shell timeout is for when it gets destroyed. The shot timer delay is basically your rate of fire. So I'll probably change the name to reflect that just a little bit more. But I have it as shot timer delay because I don't want you to think that your rate of fire, I don't want a designer to set that like as 2, thinking they're going to have a rate of fire of 2 or whatever that means. Like, oh, I'll fire 2 bullets when I hit this or something. I don't want them to think that. So it says shot timer delay. Then we got the tank stats, the health, the move speed, turn force, shot force, damage. And then I considered points and score, tank stats, just because I didn't want to have to make a new header just for points and score. But here's all of our designer set values. So then I guess I need to, you probably saw it, but here's my tank shell firing in the direction that I'm facing. You got multiple angles there. I assume that's enough. I'll have to check for something to get rid of this null reference when it hits the ground. It doesn't do that though when I hit a tank. And I am getting a tag score one because I have something in my game manager for a text object to print the player score on the screen. I just haven't made it yet. I know we will soon, so it's in there. So I guess these shot timer delays, here's my limited rate of fire. If I just hold it down and just fire, I'm holding it down right now. Now, maybe I can do this without changing it. So now if I set this to like 0, just to show you how crazy this gets, you can just fire a straight line of bullets if you want. Alright, let's let my game catch up with deleting all of those. And then you could change it to like 1 if you wanted a faster rate of fire. Or I think I had mine at 3. And here's the absolute. I like the waiting because it's like someone has to load the shell. And then you're sitting there, oh, I can't shoot, I can't shoot, I can't shoot. So you have to like time your shots, make sure you hit things, all that good stuff. And there we go, the enemy. Let me see. There you go. I think I also got some points there. Maybe I should flop the name points and score, but the score is player score, and then the points is how much points something is worth when it dies. So maybe I could set a header for that so designers can just read that and know. But I'll worry about that in a bit because it's probably have to add more to this. So shells collide with other tanks, do damage to other tanks, and track which shooter fired the shell. So let me go through, since I have all these, I'm going to clear it. I'm going to have to check to see if it's like a tank or something. I don't know. Anyway, so if you see here, I fire a shot and it gets destroyed when it hits the tank. I should have clicked on it before, but everybody starts out with 100 health. This enemy now has 75. If I shoot him again, he'll be at 50. Again, 25. And so I'm doing 25 damage per shot. So now if you watch my score right here, oops, let me set that back to 0. Now if you watch my score right there, just I don't have anything to locate it for you, but it's right here at the bottom. When I shoot it last, boom, dies, gives me points. Um, and that's done through a couple of things. So in here, where I instantiate the shell, I actually, this is how I give it the damage. I get this script component and the damage variable off of it and set it equal to the tank's damage, or to this script's damage. So you could technically have a bunch of different things with a bunch of different damages and it'll work. And then I also have it set the instigator to this game object. And here it is in the script. I had it as pawn because we were talking about pawn, but it just like messed everything up. So when I went back through and changed it all to game object, it was all happy. So our instigator is just going to be a game object. It might be better that way because then like an explosive barrel can be what kills you. It can be the instigator or something. I don't know. I was just trying to reason myself why I should leave it as a game object and not try to make it work with a pawn. Other than the fact that it's due today and this works. So shells self-destruct after time and collision with anything. So you've already seen the null references popping up. I guess if anything that might help me here. Let me comment my score text out really quick so that it's not giving us these errors. And then for the next assignment, whenever we have to display scores, I can just undo that. I'll just leave it right there, whatever. Okay, so clear that. So as you can see now, when I play, sorry, my camera is really weird. It gets destroyed there. Oh, maybe they're going. Huh. So they get destroyed when they hit a tank. Okay, I know that's like the second time I paused it, but I had to do that really quick. So now when I shoot things, boom, if you look, the bullet gets destroyed. If it hits there, if it touches the ground, it gets destroyed. If it touches an enemy, it gets destroyed. Um, Here's the script for that. I just showed it, but I updated it so that it checks. And I have it as a player in here, just in case when we add multiplayer, if you want to be able to shoot the other players or not. That's why I also gave the score for a player 150. Maybe it shouldn't be more, but I don't know. Okay, well, I don't know why it's giving me this now, but I'll fix that in a little bit. That just started when I paused it to fix my shooting script, so that's cool. Anyway, the joys of programming. Anyway, shell self-destruct. Well, now it's kind of hard to see just a little bit, but that's what the shell timeout is for. Let me let me drive all the way over here to the edge. You can kind of see it earlier in the video before I fixed the collision with the ground, how they're going through the ground and then they're disappearing, like when I shot those machine gun shots. But I'll go over here, show you that it destroys, and then I'll go into the code. So I come over here, shoot, and after 3 seconds, it's gone. And now that 3 seconds isn't actually a 3 in the code, it's this shot timeout right here under shot timers. Um, it's set to 3 seconds. If I set it to 1, we'll see. Oh, okay, well, forget it. Here it is in the code. We're going to go over to the pawn, and it's actually this. Destroy the instance after designer set amount of time. Destroy shell instance shell timeout. So the designer sets that. There they go. Um, So maybe I didn't do this right with my game manager, because I actually don't have too much of the game just yet. But we store our player in here. We will store our score to show up on the UI. And I made this list of enemies. I'm assuming that if you save a list of enemies, not assuming, but from what I read, if you save a list of enemies, you can get to their stuff. It's only a size 1 right now. I could increase the size, but I only have one enemy on here. And there's the element 0, this enemy pawn right here. Um, I'll have to edit the script more, this list, so that it automatically gets all of the enemies. I'll probably put it in a start, or if I'm going to be spawning in more enemies, maybe like a fixed update or something, to where it gets objects of type or gets objects by tag or something. I'll just see what I can make work. But here is my game manager. It does store the player, so you can access the player anywhere by saying game manager.instance.player. Here specifically, I didn't do it. I'm trying not to do that, because I'm not sure how multiplayer works, and I don't want to set up code that will only work for player 1, like I did in all my previous projects where I'm using game manager.instance.player. Um, so yeah, I just avoided using it for now. So if you look in here, you go across anything here, there's nothing that says game manager.instance. I've done it before. I'm just gonna wait until I can ask you maybe a little bit more about multiplayer, how I should handle that. And that's pretty much it. I have all of my stuff organized here into an art folder that has all my free stuff, the materials, the prefabs, the textures, the 3D models. That's where all the tanks and the missiles come from. Objects is all of my prefabs, which right now I just have the player 1 shell, player pawn, which I will change to player 1 in a little bit. And then the enemy pawn. So that's pretty much all I have there. I have my scenes saved here. Here's my main scene. It's the only scene I got. Um, and then my scripts are all saved here. Once this gets bigger, I'll probably compress the scripts. Probably by type. I feel like if you divide all the scripts so all the related ones are together, it's better, not by what they actually do or anything. So I'll probably put all my enemy scripts in one thing, or all my tank scripts, in one thing, all my manager scripts in another. But I only have, what, 8 scripts right now, so they can just sit in the scripts folder. It's not that hard to find for now. Soon, this will obviously get to be more complicated, like my final. I think I divided them all up into different folders. Maybe it was my sneaky McSneak face, or maybe it was my platformer. Um, and it doesn't say it, but I went and got this camera script. I had it following myself, but I only knew how to do it in 2D, so it wasn't following me on a 3D plane. Then I found somebody on Stack Overflow saying how to get it to follow 3D and to like face behind you at all times like this, but I get this weird snapping thing like this. So I'm gonna have to pick apart that code. I think it's because it just sets it so that the camera is behind you, and it's not. Well, it's not that it's behind you. It's that if you look, see the camera isn't taking in my rotation. So I just need to set it so that it takes in my rotation too. Um, and then we'll be good. I have it offset so it follows you kind of back instead of like closer up. And then it also has it set. Um, where's the camera manager? Oh, camera controller, not manager. I also have it set, if you look right here, it has a float distance. And then I just also add 5 units to the Y so that it kind of sits above you like that. And the offset is so that it follows you. Um, Now, once again, I did get this script, it says in here, from a Stack Overflow user by the name of Mukesh Saini, and I just grabbed it really quick because it wasn't part of the requirements. I just wanted a camera to follow me, and I didn't want to spend time on it. So there's that, but I will be editing this to follow my rotation a little bit. It uses look at, but one of the values that's being set here is causing it not to update with the rotation. And looking through it here, um, look at must not take into account rotation or something. Something in here is not taking into the account for my turns, so I'll have fun figuring that out in a little bit. Um, and I'll just go through a few scripts just to show you my comments. I mostly use it just to explain stuff at a quick glance. This is for later. I made one and got rid of it. And since I just typed this out, I guess it doesn't have any. So we're just gonna say check if collider belongs to player or enemy. If it does, get pawn component call take damage function. And then we'll say I don't have to comment down destroy this game object. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna do it. That's a waste. So there's that. This doesn't have any comments, like I said, because I got it from the internet. I don't know if I plan to keep it or what, but using it for now so that my camera follows my tank has been helpful. Once again, it's not mine, so I'll probably get rid of it. Um, I've done something like this before, just not in 3D, so I'll figure it out myself so that I can get that rotation in there. And my pawn's kind of hefty. I comment everything out, especially in theirs, but here I say what it is, components, they're all up here. I kind of got that from you in the data, then say all of what they are. This usually just describes it well for me. So you could probably even go through this shoot and see what it does if you didn't know any code. I don't know if it would really help somebody, but definitely somebody that knows programming, it would help them. Um, so I just kind of make sure I mark everything nicely. Okay, I guess this test controller I'm actually not going to mark because I should have deleted it by now. I just haven't. And then this was kind of straightforward, so I didn't mark it either. I just said switch statement for control schemes. Plus, I think that looks nice. So, but that's I'm pretty sure this is everything that's open in the project. So this is my project. Um, I think it goes above minimal requirements, even if it's just a little bit. Oh, really? Oh. Well, anyway, that's my video. I'll see you in class on Tuesday.